What if I told you that the greatest breakthroughs in American history, its wealth, its culture, its science, its freedom, were shaped by forces hidden in the shadows? Stories so powerful that some were buried intentionally. Stories so transformative that if every American knew them, the nation would never look at itself the same way again. Today, we open 5 doors that were never meant to be opened. 5 African-American history secrets that changed the world, yet were nearly erased from it. Sit tight. This isn't the history you learned in school. This is the history someone hoped you'd never discover. Our first secret begins with a man who lived in chains, yet outmaneuvered the very institution meant to crush him. His name was Robert Smalls, born enslaved in South Carolina. By age 23, he was forced to pilot a Confederate supply ship called the Planter. He learned the routes, the signals, the passwords, everything he wasn't supposed to know. But one night in 1862, while the white officers slept ashore, Robert made his move. He gathered his wife, his children, and several enslaved families. He put on the captain's coat, mimicked the captain's walk, and steered the ship straight toward freedom. Every checkpoint along the harbor signaled for identification. Robert, calm, steady, fearless, gave the exact secret codes. Not one guard suspected a thing. Moments before Confederate cannons could fire, Robert surrendered the ship to the Union Navy. Not only did he escape, he delivered a warship to the enemy. Lincoln called it one of the most extraordinary acts of the entire Civil War. But here's the secret no one talks about. Robert Smalls didn't stop there. He went on to become a congressman, a businessman, and the man who forced South Carolina to create its first public school system. A man born enslaved, ended up reshaping American democracy. How often did you hear that story growing up? This next secret takes us deep into Louisiana, where a man ruled like a king, long before the Civil Rights Movement. His name was Homer Plessy. Most people know his name from Plessy versus Ferguson, the Supreme Court case that legalized segregation. But the secret is what came before the case, a forgotten rebellion so bold it shook the South. Homer Plessy belonged to a group called the Citizens Committee, a powerful network of black activists, writers, and strategists in New Orleans. They weren't passive victims. They were masterminds. They studied legal loopholes. They tracked judges. They mapped out the exact reactions the city would have. They even selected which train car would spark the most outrage. The fight against segregation didn't begin with Rosa Parks in 1955. It began with a carefully planned protest in 1892, led by black thinkers who used the law itself as a weapon. Though the Supreme Court ruled against Plessy, their plan wasn't a failure. They built the blueprint that the NAACP later used to dismantle segregation from the inside. Plessy wasn't just a man on a train. He was the spark of a quiet revolution, one that America never credits. Now we travel further back, to a secret that predates the United States itself. Millions know about the horrors of slavery. Few know about the wealth stolen alongside the people. Before the transatlantic slave trade, West Africa contained some of the wealthiest communities on Earth. Empires like Mali, Songhai, Oyo, and Benin controlled gold, ivory, iron, salt, advanced education systems, and bustling international trade networks. Mansa Musa, the richest man in world history, was not a myth but a symbol of Africa's economic strength. Here's the secret. Enslaved Africans brought economic expertise with them. They were not uncivilized labor. They were metal workers, engineers, farmers, linguists, builders, scientists, and skilled artisans. Their knowledge powered the American South. Rice cultivation techniques, irrigation methods, architectural styles, metallurgy, music forms that would become jazz, blues, gospel, and rock. Complex systems of farming still used today. America wasn't built by chance. It was built by stolen brilliance, brilliance never credited. This one feels like a movie, but it's real. His name was Benjamin Banneker. In 1791, when America needed to design Washington, D.C., the man hired to lead the project, Pierre Charles L'Enfant, was fired after taking the city's only architectural plans with him. The project was doomed. The capital couldn't be built. Chaos everywhere. Until someone remembered Benjamin Banneker, a self-taught astronomer, a mathematician, a clockmaker, and a black man with no formal education. Banneker was brought to the site. He studied the land, closed his eyes, and reconstructed the missing plans from memory. Every street, every square, every angle. He saved the entire project. Yet his name was nearly erased from the city he helped design. Today, millions walk the streets of Washington, D.C., never knowing they walk through the mind of a black genius America tried to forget. We often credit the civil rights movement to big names, King, Malcolm, Rosa, and others. But here's the final secret. The movement's greatest power came from the nameless, uncredited army behind the scenes. The secret strategists. The organizers. The mothers who fed protesters. The students who walked miles to school. The neighbors who shared homes with strangers fleeing danger. The churches that operated like intelligence agencies. The children who faced fire hoses and didn't run. They weren't in textbooks, but they were the engine of the movement. There were teenagers who printed flyers in basements. Barbers who turned shops into political meeting rooms. Women who hid activists in their homes. Ministers who risked everything to spread messages. Sharecroppers who registered voters even after being beaten. Freedom riders who stared death in the face. School kids who marched knowing dogs would be unleashed on them. Without this hidden army, the civil rights movement would have collapsed. The true secret is this. Movements are never built by heroes. They are built by ordinary people doing extraordinary things. And for centuries, African Americans, unknown, uncredited, unread, carried this nation toward freedom one unrecorded act at a time. These 5 secrets don't just rewrite African American history. They rewrite American history. Because the truth is simple. Black history is American history. Black brilliance shaped American brilliance. The black struggle built American freedom. Black creativity formed American culture. And for too long, these stories were buried. But not anymore. Today, we open the doors. We say the names. We reclaim the truth. These aren't just secrets. They are reminders that greatness often grows in the places the world tries hardest to ignore. What can you say about this historical story? Kindly like, comment, and share this video. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell for more untold and intriguing Black history stories.